All right, good morning. Welcome to another Friday morning safety meeting. Today is the 7th of November. Hard to believe it's already that time of year. It seems like it was just spring. This week, we are 17 days without a recordable injury, 8 days without a first aid injury, and 10 days without a vehicle incident that we were at fault in. This week, we're going to talk about winter safety, combining a few different topics down into one slideshow. So keep on keeping on. So I'll start out with driving. Before you drive, you want to make sure to scrape off your vehicle. That's the law. Some places they call it Jessica's Law. Other places just make sure that you follow the law and clean the snow off your vehicle. One thing that we noticed last year was that truck drivers with big trucks were doing some pretty insane gymnastics to get the snow and ice off of their windshields and stuff like that. So we went and got them a bunch of those foam snow scrapers. If for some reason your big truck doesn't have one, just shoot me a text or email and I'll put together a list to get you guys out some of those. You want to make sure to clean and bang off your wiper blades, top off your washer fluid. There's nothing worse when you're driving through the snow and all of a sudden you don't have any washer fluid and your windshield gets caked over. You got to make sure to check your tire tread, ensure that your tank is fuel tank is full and that you've treated your fuel appropriately. A lot of incidents happen when cars break down or can't see and they pull off to the side of the road. Other vehicles don't see them and then they crash into them. I want to make sure while you're driving in snow that you reduce your speed, increase your following distance, limit your distractions, utilize four-wheel drive as applicable, and the biggest thing is give yourself extra time to get where you're going. In most cases, it's a lot easier and less stressful to be the car that's going a little slower than everybody else because you gave yourself plenty of time and you can even think in the back of your mind, these people didn't give themselves enough time. So you always want to avoid cruise control on icy, snowy roads. You want to avoid Jake brakes and you want to avoid unnecessary driving and hauling. So if you can avoid being on the roads or hauling something heavy until the salt starts to work, then that's obviously preferable. And just remember, it's better to arrive late than never. Be mindful of rapidly changing conditions. That's, I think, one of the most dangerous points is when you're driving along and you're on a fairly decent road and then all of a sudden it's glare ice and you're trying to find your traction at 65, 70 miles an hour. You want to ask the shop about winter tires if your vehicle is not good in snow, and you always want to check the weather. Last year, we did have a really good year when it came to driving in winter conditions, and we want to keep that up this year. As you're going around sites and stuff, you want to make sure to walk slowly. You want to have kind of eyeball out what your plan is for where you're going to walk. You want to take small, deliberate steps like a penguin where your weight's centered over your feet. And you want to wear footwear with good slip resistant sole or some type of traction aid like these micro spikes. You want to watch out for black ice, which can be hard, especially in low light conditions. So make sure you're lighting your sights up appropriately and using headlamps where proper. You want to dry your feet as much as possible when entering a building, especially if the floors are smooth and you can cause slip hazards for other people or yourself. You want to avoid carrying large items that can obstruct your view. You want to scan your route before you start walking. You want to take multiple trips if needed. Don't try to bring all the groceries in at once if it's icy or snowy. You want to ask for help where applicable and utilize equipment where you can. Frost blankets. Frost blankets pose a really big slip hazard, and we've all slipped on them. We've all tripped on them. And not only that, but they can cover holes and stuff that you can't see with the naked eye, especially once a little bit of snow gets on them. So you want to make sure that you're super sure of your footing before you enter an area with frost blankets and try to pull the frost blankets up before you have to walk there. Now keep the work site safe. You want to clear the snow in the mornings or as it snows throughout the day. You want to use salt or sand to assist with traction. You can always call to get salt. Try to keep the work area as dry as possible. Keep walking and working surfaces clear of unused tools and debris. So if you're not using something, put it away. Good housekeeping always is prevalent, and especially in the snow because you can create yourself trip hazards, and it's also easier to lose or destroy tools. You want to be aware of changing site conditions when freezing or thawing occurs. Next, we're going to talk about frostbite. Frostbite is basically, if you really boil it down, it's a burn that's caused by the cold weather. It's going to be treated the same and all of that stuff. And severe frostbite is going to be treated at burn center. Mild frostbite is going to be waxy fingers. It'll start to speckle out and then it'll turn black. Turning black is very uncommon. However, the waxy and spotty conditions are much more common. And we really want to nip it in the bud before it becomes anything. Once you get it once in an area, it's prone to getting it again. So you want to make sure to keep that area dry, warm, and take breaks as needed to warm up. With hypothermia, you're going to have uncontrolled breathing, intense shivering, mental confusion, lost coordination, cold and blue skin, irregular heartbeat, weak pulse, and enlarged pupils. If somebody's really cold and starts acting funny because they're cold and wet, just get them into a truck, get them warmed up. We shouldn't be getting down this far on the list of symptoms. So anytime with frostbite, you want to do passive warming. So you don't want to instantly warm up the area. If it's really severe, they'll need to go to a burn center. But you just want to slowly warm it up with the temperature at room temperature. With hypothermia, you can actively warm somebody. So if they're too cold, you can put hot packs and stuff in their armpits. Always beware of wind chills. There's nothing worse than there's three factors to think about, right? You have your temperature, you have your wind speed, and then you also have precipitation. So anytime that you have all three of those, it's going to feel much colder. If you have 2 out of 3 of those, it's still going to feel much colder. And even if you have 1, it's still going to be pretty cold. So here's a chart for wind chill and stuff like that. But basically, how it feels outside is more important than what the actual temperature is. We all know there's been times when it's been negative 10 degrees and it's been calm and sunny and it's actually been not too bad out. And there's other times where it's 30 degrees and it's super windy, a little bit of precipitation, and it's just miserable. So that's how it feels is how your body's going to react. You want to recognize the stress or the signs of cold stress. You want to avoid caffeine and alcoholic beverages before the night before. You want to stay hydrated. Also, try to avoid diesel fuel and stuff like that on your hands. That can lead to frostbite. Just point that out. Type of fabric that you wear makes a difference. You want to avoid cotton. Once that gets wet, it's actually worse than not wearing anything at all. Wool's always tried and true. Some of the synthetic materials like Primaloft and Thinsulate and stuff like that are also excellent. You always want to wear layers. That way you can lose layers if needed so you don't sweat. And if you sweat, then you're going to get colder. The other thing too is you want to have spare socks, spare layers and stuff in your vehicle. I always keep spare wool socks in my truck. And it comes in handy a few times a year. So make sure you guys are doing the same. And if you had to choose one thing to wear in wool, I'd say socks. Good socks are definitely well worth it. And you want to wear something under your hard hat to keep your head warm. All right, I was able to get through that quicker than I expected, so I'm going to stop sharing.
Thanks, Tom.
Absolutely.
It was a good frost this morning at my house, so winter's upon us.
Yep.
Let's see. Let me try to share. That work?
Yep, we got
You
it.
see it.
Okay, thanks. All right. So getting ready for winter. Good topic for today. And remember, we talked a few weeks about winterizing pumps and things that have water that can freeze in them. Now we're getting some harder freezes at night, so that's going to be much more important moving forward. Today's this week's code of conduct item is work to OSHA, FRA, and ECI standards. As we know, when we're working on the rail, we're following FRA rather than OSHA sometimes. So if you have any questions on those projects, talk to your supervisors. They know the rules, and reach out to the safety group also. If you have any questions regarding any of the rules or regs. So I always like to have a little bit of a statement in here. Endeavor to operate within the accepted safety systems and follow best practices. Keep safety as your highest priority. So today we do have a Morgan Stanley financial advisor. She will be, I think, believes between 8 o'clock and 11:30 up front. There may be some time slots still available. I would suggest if you want to get in there, call Melanie earlier than later, because what happens sometimes is if there's no appointments, the advisor will leave before noontime, and then people will show up after she left. So give Melanie a call and she'll schedule you in if there's a time slot. Ownership topic or item of the week. This one was written by Brendan Stringer. I'll read it to you. It's about personal accountability, something that will help us all as a team. In our industry, personal accountability means expecting ourselves to arrive on time with a good attitude, with good tools, and the tools required to complete our work. Another part of personal accountability is having ownership of the consequences of our actions, whether positive or negative. We can also hold ourselves accountable to our fellow crew members, our foreman, our project manager, or senior leadership here at ECI. When we hold ourselves accountable to the people we work with, it promotes cooperation, efficiency, safety. It reduces peer-to-peer conflict and allows us to grow as individuals and as a team. So that was well said by fellow owner Brendan Stringer. I appreciate when other people are able to contribute. So if you have any thoughts or ideas on how we can improve, develop, and become better as a company, as a team, as individuals, send me a text, send me an email. I'd love to have other people contribute to some of their thoughts on how we can be better. And if you want, you can send me something and you can tell me that you want to be anonymous. That's fine. I think it's really great when we can all contribute to the weekly thoughts that we're sharing with each other. So thanks again, Brendan. New supplemental pay rates. I ran this again this week in case anyone missed it. We increased out of town per diem from 50 to 60. We increased the out of town rate differential from $3 to $4. The emergency response bonus, which is going to be, we're probably going to have some water breaks this winter. So we doubled it. We increased that from $50 per event to $100 per event, which I thought that was a good one to increase. It's really tough when you get a call in the middle of the night or on a weekend to come and respond to one of these emergencies, but it sure is appreciated when you do, because it sucks to be like one or two people when you need, 4 or 5 to get one of these things done. So we doubled that one and increased it to $100. The night shift differential is another one that really disrupts our sleep and our lives, and it's tough because some of these jobs require that we work at night. So we increased the night shift from $4 to $6 per hour. The $6 is added to your base rate. So when you work at night and you're on the night shift mode, your base pay is just increased. You got a $6 raise to work at night. And that applies and follows through for overtime and all that. It gives you a $6 raise. I think that's pretty cool that we were able to do those things. So you had a good year. Everyone did very well. We just finished our fiscal year here on the 31st of October, our first birthday. So in recognition of that, these rates were increased. So good job, everybody. 2026 open enrollment is imminent. I think Aaron is still working on getting a few things finalized to have open enroll start next week. They're going to use a new platform this year called Employee Navigator, and you will receive instructions via email, and definitely reach out to Aaron or anyone up front. I'm going to make sure that I know that they're all up to speed on this stuff once it rolls out. There is a link to the new rates right here on the email. If you just click this, you will get this document, which you probably will recognize from previous years. It has all of our open enrollment information. The rates went up a little bit for health insurance. I think for the single, it went up $5 on the single. I think it went up $8 on the double and $12 a week on the family. All the deductibles and things like that, I believe, remained the same. But if you click on this link, you can open this and review this document. Good idea to review it before you do the open enrollment this year. So that's going to be coming up. I was going to promise Monday, but I'm not going to promise that because I'm not quite sure if it's pinned down yet. Any questions? Give Aaron a call. New employees this week. We got Joseph Oser. He's a railroad flagger. He started on Monday. Welcome, Joe. And we got Travis White. I don't know which truck he's driving. I forgot which one, but if you see somebody that looks like that driving a truck, it's okay. He's one of us now. Welcome, Travis. And we've got the 2025 buck pool, which is gone into action. I got this created by Matt Saganowitz. He's running the raffle, the buck pool raffle this year. So it's from rifle season and regular, it looks like from rifle season. So that's November 15 to 30, and regular muzzle loader season, 6th to the 14th of December. The largest buck takes all. Each pound of the field dress buck is a point, and each antler point is squared. For example, a 200-pound 8-point buck would score 264 points. So that's our math exercise of this morning. I better get some more coffee because even some of us that went to a lot of college are having a hard time with math first thing in the morning sometimes. So it's a $20 fee. Call Matt Saganowitz. His number's here. You can probably reach out on email, and it looks like, Matt, I don't know if you're on, but you have a little
Venmo thing there.
Code that we can pay with a picture. Who's the little one in the middle? Is that you when you were young?
No, it was Kane when he was a baby. It was a great picture. I just never got rid of it.
So you got anything to say about the buck pool?
No, I mean, it's a yearly thing we've done. Brian Harrington, and actually I had a picture of him holding his cash from last year. Here, let me just share my screen. If you guys don't mind me interrupting.
Nope, that's fine.
Sorry. You guys see Brian, and then there's his cash. And I do have a picture of his deer, which, I don't know if this is a New York deer or what. It's got to be a Vermont deer, but look how big this thing is. He definitely won it last year for sure. But yeah, we will, get everybody in. We'll put another, leaderboard chart on the board so everybody can see it and see who's getting deer and what have you. And I was just trying to think of a way to make it easier for people, out in the field doing the work to be able to join with that Venmo. I think Tom gave me the idea last year to use the Venmo pay thing. So as soon as I get that, I'll put you on the board, and good luck, everybody. I'm excited. It's going to be a good year.
I invite everybody to go up to the pit where Brian hunts and help thin out his herd.
Yeah, Daryl, I think that's a great idea. Ronnie
and next
Johnson,
year, maybe do freezer weights, because I shoot 4 doe, so that I could get more freezer weight than some people.
Daryl, that's a great point. Also, if anybody's got any other suggestions, doing the whole season. Next year's going to change with the $2 thing. If anybody's got any suggestions how this should be kind of, ran, please let us know and we'll try to tailor it for next year. We did this, usually we only do rifle. This year we did extend it to muzzle loader to give you guys an extra time to get a big ass buck. So get in there. There's some big money to be won and it's fun.
And just for everybody's sake, is there a refund for bow hunters that shoot a buck before the 15th?
Yeah, I mean, I would wait to the last minute. It's okay. You could do right up to whatever. I get that. I understand that concern, and it makes perfect sense to me. As long as you're in there by midnight of the opening season, yeah, absolutely. And that Venmo thing helps because I get it, and it's time stamped, and we're good to go.
I had to restart. Sorry, I disappeared.
But next year we're hoping, to do something maybe the biggest buck of all of that. So bow, rifle, muzzle. We'll just have to come up with a good plan.
Thanks for filling time, Matt. You hear me okay?
Yep,
got you.
sure. Loud and clear.
I had to totally restart this. I switched to my phone for a minute. Okay. Thank you, Matt.
No problem. Thank you,
got my
guys.
screen. You got my screen again?
We do.
Okay,
Yeah.
the project of the week. Ed Goudreau, he put this together, and I think we'll have Liam chime in. I think he was out there earlier. Once we get to the photos. Liam, are you out there today? Can you hear us? He was. Okay. So ECI contracted with Engelberth Construction to construct a new recreational path. The new rec path, it starts at Airport Drive. It's right across from the airport parking garage, just up from Beta. And it ends all the way at the end of past White Street on Dumont Ave. It's 10-foot wide and it's approximately 3,000 feet long. It crosses all those small little roadways that are just across from the parking garage. Yes, Patrick Street, Elizabeth Street, Maryland Street, Ladue Terrace, and then of course White Street. You've probably seen us working over there. It's where all the homes were that were removed as part of the airport taking over that property again. The work required 1,500 cubic yards of cut to waste to make room for gravel, which was placed on woven fabric, and it was paved with, wow, 4 inches. Is that correct, Jim? 4 inches of asphalt?
Sure is.
That's very thick for a
The
rec
whole
pad.
job was way over designed, as we know. Those drainage ditches were the same, not needed. It's just,
Yeah.
Airport engineer designs a bike path. It's way over engineered.
Yeah, there it is.
Way.
Yeah, 2 lifts.
Two lifts.
2 lifts, 2.5 inch, an inch and a half of pavement, which is better than most driveways. I'll tell you that.
Most parking lots.
In parking lots.
A lot of roads.
And then on each side, you'll see 5 feet off the edge of the pavement. On each side, there's a 2x2 crushed gravel. Looks like just crushed stone wrapped in fabric. You'll see them in the photos on each side. Nice that they have that in a sandy area so that it can facilitate all the water. Maybe the water can make it to get in and drain. So it's a good job for us. It was a little bit over designed. They started it on the last week of October. It was completed the last week of October, and it included also 3 catch basins, about 130 to 12-inch drainage pipe that connected into the storm drain system. We started it on August 25th and completed the project in the last week of October. We contracted out the tree clearing and the line striping, and our paving team put about 900 tons of asphalt down on this thing. The signal crew put those RRFBs up, those rectangular rapid flashing beacons that that light up so that we can get the pedestrians to cross the roadways. There's 2 of those at the White Street intersection, and at each street intersection. ECI's concrete team formed and poured 80 square feet of pads, and it also included those detectable warning plates for the blind. There were 5 street crossings, so that was 10 of those pads. This project demonstrated the ability to get a bunch of different crews in there and out to do their different parts of work. Here we see that the shortest distance between 2 points is a curve. So there's the subgraded roadway with the fabric or path, and then you can see the 2 stone drainage ditch swale areas on each side. And there's the shot. We used some big equipment to build this baby. It's one of those jobs that's like a linear job. You know, you start at one end and you weave your way through there, and you've got silt fence on both sides. So that has some of its challenges. A little bit of backing. Good job on the backing up with the drivers. You can see in this one, you've got the stone trenches on each side, pile of stone there. And as you can see, this thing is very windy. It's a lot of curves. They had fun putting this thing in. You can see it's graded and ready for asphalt pavement. In this shot, just some different shots through what used to be a lot of different yards of people that lived there, and now it's kind of been reclaimed as a twisty, turny pathway. Here you see the topsoiling. We've got a couple catch basins that were installed, and here we are set up, coring it in place for the pipe. And then I went out yesterday and got some shots just of the finished pathway. Surprisingly, they were like, I saw 4 or 5 people using it when I was out there. So they were using it for a walking path. Kind of nice. That I think is Maryland Street. And the stone, I don't know what you do with it. It just sits there and the grass grows up. It'll probably blind and within a couple of years. And there's the White Street RRFBs up there. Nice looking pavement. Good looking job. I don't think there's a straight. Is there any straight sections in this? I couldn't find one.
No, I don't think there is. And that was on purpose. They had a little thing on the news with the airport kind of saying why they did it, and I don't know.
Yeah,
Nice for the neighborhood. It wanted to be a meandering path. That's what they want.
it's meandering. I didn't go over there when you guys were paving it, but it must have been a little bit of a challenge backing. It looks like you had to back into your
Yeah, where you start
the next roadway.
pave away from White Street, and a little bit some logistical. Yep.
So the drivers got their backing practice in on that one, I'm sure. So good job on that job. Looks good. I think that one, hopefully, unless something's changed, when I reviewed that one, it looks like that job was a really successful job for us. We did well, and it's nice to get a job where you can see the results of what you do. Most of what we did right there is evident when you drive by and take a look at it. A lot of our stuff is buried, but on a lot of jobs, but that one's a pretty nice looking job by ECI. Proud of it. Good job. And thank you to the crew. Chris and Liam and all you other guys and drivers that worked on that. Thank you. Good job. Just trying to find another interesting photo from the archives, and back in 2009, we built the Vernon substation, which is right there, adjacent to the nuclear power plant, which I believe at that point was not decommissioned yet, or it was on its way out. But this whole yard was built by ECI, and those little tiny gray things are all foundations, substation foundations. And that complete yard was a greenfield substation. And the purpose of it was to eliminate all the and get everything to tie in. You can see the substation in the background there. The new substation was created in order to tie all the lines back in anticipation of eliminating the power plant, which is now decommissioned. So that was a pretty good ride down there in the airplane to take these shots, but it was it's kind of cool to go back and look. So I will turn it back over to Tom and Matt.
Yeah, have a great day. Have a safe day. Enjoy your weekend. If you're watching a group setting, please send over your attendance.
Thanks, everybody.